Hey friends, welcome to the channel, glad to have you along. Now, as you probably know, the coronavirus climate has really affected bus services really bad, and also majority of bus services have been taken off due to the fact they could no longer be sustainable, even throughout the post-pandemic. And not many services had returned even since after the coronavirus crisis. Most services were withdrawn indefinitely during the crisis, as things would never have been the same again as they were before COVID. So welcome to the video. We're actually going to be looking at declining bus services that will no longer be seen in due course of 2023, when all the West Midlands bus network comes to a change. Our first video is going to be the service number 89 that goes to Solihull from Coventry. And you may be thinking, does Stagecoach run that service? No, it's run by Diamond Bus, previously IGO buses. But however, this service hasn't seen a pickup in passengers since Diamond has been doing the service. They tried using Mercedes-Benz Stratas for use on the service, but however that turned out not to be the case, as this service probably hardly picks anyone up. The replacement of this service is going to be the West Midlands On Demand, which follows most of the route anyway, so what's the case of having the 89 versus the West Midlands On Demand service? Which is a bit similar to the Diamond DRT service in Bromsgrove. This service is usually worked by the Optare Solos, the Optare Solo SRs, and of course the Mercedes-Benz Stratas. But however, in that case, there's also been the street lights. However, a street light is really big to go down little country lanes, especially going through the Borsal Common area. Diamond will be missed from Coventry, so we will be looking at all different routes. They're all going to be falling apart in due course of the new year, because it is going to be a shame to say goodbye to all these lovely services that have served our community for a good many years now. We are now at the Anstey Park We're now at Cannon Park, which is a small shopping area just outside of Coventry. It has been known to loads of people who go shopping here all the time. Now, this is a bit more like a retail park, but however, it turns out not to be the case, as most of these shopping centres have seen a decline in shoppers since the coronavirus. The only essential stores that are seen here are Aldi and Tesco. Those stores kept going even during the coronavirus crisis due to the fact that they are important, due to the fact they've had food. We're now continuing our journey to go down the Kirby corner. Now, as you probably know, Coventry is also parting with the East Midlands and also parting with Warwickshire. However, that turns out not to be the case, because Coventry is also close to the West Midlands, which is close to its sister city, Birmingham. Westward Heath is going to be lost without services, but however that turns out not to be the case, as Stagecoach are going to still provide the 87 service to go down this corridor. Because Stagecoach have recently made a major expansion back into the West Midlands following the takeover of the Johnson's work, which were passed on to Rotala Diamond Bus back in the summer of 2022. As due to the fact that Diamond could no longer sustain them, and also put all those routes up for tender. The only Diamond services that were likely to stay in Solihull is the A1 and the A2. The 69 to Brandwood Park is still being looked at, but however that turns out not to be the case, because it might be taken over by Stagecoach in Stratford. But however, it could be the end of an era, or maybe a custom operator on the South Birmingham region might take over, or maybe rival Landflight might have it, because they took over a lot of the Solihull work even since after even since after the signature work came to a complete terminus. Burton Green is going to be really missed for loads of people, especially for people who are going from Solihull to Coventry. But however, that turns out not to be the case again, as the 87 service is going to provide this part of the route. So it will be a huge miss. We are also looking at these lovely radio masts. However, that might be interesting to see what it is, so to look on this really impressive countryside. However, we're now going to soon turn at our next junction, and we're now going on to the waste. You may be thinking, wait, is our waste of money going down the lane? However, no, it turns out not to be the case. We are also passing the iconic National Grid, which ploughs alongside, which marches down the field. But does it look like that most of this area will all come to a complete abrupt finish? But however, Stagecoach will be a good provider to go through Borsal Common rather than Diamond Bus. Even though Diamond Bus is one of the best operators across the West Midlands. But however, it has decided to give up some tendered work and give them to Rivals National Express, which are also facing trouble with their tendered work. So it looks like Diamond will have to return to the tendered work in the new year. Recently, they've applied to take on the 22, the Albury to Bearwood service, which is currently operated by NX at West Bromwich. Diamond buses operate in different bases. Albury Tiverdale, which is in Sandwell. There's Redditch in Worcestershire, and another base in Worcestershire at Kidderminster. So the 89 is run by Redditch, so that turns out how much mileage it has to do to go all the way from Redditch to come to Solihull. Even though that they ran the signature work, but however, with all the cost of living advice going on, it really has made a huge impact on the number of changes that's been affected by the coronavirus. And also with the war in Ukraine, so a lot has come to a complete trouble and hitting the rocks. Borsal Common will still be served, but however there is also a request zone that goes to the Windmill Caravan Park, which will be a doubt for people who live on the site will never see their bus again. We're also overlooking the tracks of the West Coast Main Line, the service from London to Glasgow via Birmingham. To be honest, the Ring and Ride service that used to do this run was a lovely operator. And of course with the IGO buses doing the Windmill Caravan Park, this made a great improvement to numbers of services. Berkswell Village is still going to be provided with their regular train services, which are the regular London North Western stopping services from London, and they'll still be able to provide services to passengers who need to get out of their house to get to the West Midlands. The Meriden Road carries on as we head towards Hampton in Arden, which is one popular village just outside Solihull. The hour and 12-minute journey is going to take us all the way through the lovely countryside, as we're also heading towards Hampton in Arden, which is also not far from the National Exhibition Centre and Birmingham Airport. We're now going through Four Oaks. No, this is not the Four Oaks at Sutton Coldfield in North Birmingham. This is the one in Parting with Warwickshire. This service will be totally missed for many people, especially me. I was going to do this one originally back in 2019, but apparently due to the fact that the service didn't pick any passengers up and drove straight on to Solihull. Now I've got no chance to do. This is one service that I'll never do, and I really wanted to do it, but sadly turns out not to be the case. So let's just carry on. Okay then guys, we're just going through Meriden. So we're just going through Meriden now, on the 89. So this is going to be a shame to see a loss of the route. So the journey takes us down the B4102, and this is going to take us to Hampton in Arden. This route will totally be missed for many people from over the years, especially with the route being hit hard because of COVID and the amount of passenger numbers that's decreased since COVID. This service will possibly not likely to see a service ever. This service will never see a bus ever again. However, with the new West Midlands On Demand, that has really killed the route off. So it looks like that more and more routes might be killed off, even if services don't get back to the normality, like up to pre-COVID numbers. So a lot of the routes are all being scrapped. Handful of other services like National Express may not be able to cope with the demand of their services due to the fact that in fact they're struggling too. So this is why not all services could be resolved at any point. We're now in the village of Hampton in Arden, which will also still see a regular train service all the way towards London and also into Birmingham. Hampton in Arden, for example, will still be served by the Stagecoach 82 service, meaning there will still be a link between Hampton in Arden and Solihull, which will be provided by Stagecoach Midlands, which seems to be one of the second biggest operators beside National Express. National Express Coventry used to cover this line even way before Diamond did the route as the signature contract, before it was passed over to Johnson's. Then in no time it was then combined into their X20 service, which was requested to run from Coventry to Stratford-upon-Avon. Now that was the replacement from what was the original X20 to Stratford-upon-Avon from Birmingham. It has all changed now due to the low passenger numbers. A lot of the Midland Red routes have now vanished. There's only one main Midland Red route left in Birmingham, and that is the service 110 service that goes to Tamworth, and that is more of a frequent service. The 144, for example, which is the Birmingham route, that has been operating for a good many years, but sadly that route had to face a withdrawal. This is due to the fact that it was just no longer affordable to continue to operate, and also with passenger numbers, and they could no longer sustain the loss-making journey. The passengers who want to travel down to the Worcester way are to get a bus or train to Longbridge, then change to a bus to take direct to Bromsgrove, and then after Bromsgrove, passengers will then have to change at Bromsgrove to get down to Worcester. They can always go down to Droitwich Spa on the 145 from Longbridge, and then jump on a service 355 or 144 to Worcester. They can also alternatively get to Owl's Owen, catch the 192 to Kidderminster, then changed for a 303 for Worcester. So there is alternatives to get to Worcester, but however it is just not the same from how it was before. All these services that we are talking about are all phasing out. Most services could survive. That's because due to the fact they're under different county boundaries and of course with them required significant subsidies. The 202, however, was withdrawn in 2020. That was due to the fact that it wasn't making enough money to continue to operate. But however, it was replaced by a 44 service that wasn't the right route, but the 202 was given a significant subsidy so the service could be reinstated, and it was. So as we know today, the 202 service is back in operation, full service, and back to the usual route as we know. But it's a shame that this route will never come back, even though it requires a subsidy. But however, the West Midlands On Demand has really killed the service off. A lot of the services have been killed off even since the coronavirus has started. But it will be a huge miss to see the loss in these significant routes that have operated around the town for a good many years, and they will be missed for good. Now our journey has finished. Welcome to Solihull, where this 89 service will terminate and will finish here. So thank you for watching the 89. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share and subscribe to this channel.